Welcome everyone to our annual Lag BaOmer Hilula Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. As we know, our shul over here is called L'Shem. The name L'Shem wasn't picked out of just because it's a very cute name. L'Shem is actually an acronym for La'akama Shechita Me'afera. If we are to look through the Zohar HaKadosh, the theme, I hope you're going to agree with me when I say this. The theme, you know what the theme is? The main point in the whole Zohar is to pick up the Shekhinah. That's the main theme. The whole point of the theme of the whole Zohar is to reconnect God's revelation to His presence. What does that mean, to reconnect His revelation to His presence? It means that everything in our life, we cannot put it up to chance. It was a chance. Okay, the bleachers fell. After a year of not going to Meron, there were so many people this year. It fell. It was a chance. Had to happen. It was a chance. Okay, coronavirus. Every 400 years in the world there isn't a pandemic. Every 100 years. It happened. It's a chance. That you could say when it's a global thing. What happens when it happens to you personally? Yesterday in Israel, in America, these things happen every day. Nobody cares already. They don't even talk about it. A woman put her child in a bathtub to shower. She comes back, Lo Aleinu, Kaddish al Israel. Like these stories, Rabotai, what are you going to say? Was chance? How much could you put it up to chance? But when something happens to you, and you say, Hashem help me, no, it's the worst, and then Hashem helps you, and then you say, it was probably a chance. It was going to happen anyway. It would have happened. Help would have come. That's the worst. Because He helped you. And then you still say it was chance. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai comes about 100 years after Chorban Beit Sheni, the destruction of the Second Temple. Rabbi Akiva was in Am Haaretz back then. He lived 120 years, right? We all know that. At the age of 120, he was skinned alive by the Romans, by Tornos Rophos, Harasha, the governor of Palestine. You know why the Romans called Israel Palestine? They wanted to erase all Jewish memory from it. So they called it after the Pelishtim. They call it Pax Palestina, a colony of Palestine, of the Pelishtim. Where was the Pelishtim back then? History. They were ancient history. The Romans did it on purpose. To rub it into the Jewish people. And after comes Rabbi Akiva. He was in Am Haaretz for 40 years. And he comes and he says, after 40 years, my wife tells me to go learn Torah. Shalom Bayit. He goes to learn Torah with his kid. The woman already left, so I don't know what's the point of saying all of this. He goes to learn Torah with his kid. His son's name was Yoshua. Go to learn Torah. He's learning with his kid, 40-year-old man. Aleph, Bet, Kamatz. Then Rabbi Akiva asks, why does an Aleph have two heads? A head, a lower head, and a body in the middle? He looks at a Bet. Why does the Bet look like this? Why does the Kamatz have that sound? And he learns, and he learns, and he learns, and he learns until he gets to the level of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua, the students of Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai, Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol. The Gemara says when Rabbi Eliezer, his Rebbe, and Rabbi Akiva argue in halacha, the halacha follows Rabbi Akiva. He got to a level where he overcame his Rebbe. And he had 24,000 students that all died. Over 800 students died a day, all from the same disease. Such a chilul Hashem it was back then. And Rabbi Akiva was supposed to die when? On Lag BaOmer. See, Lag BaOmer, the Emet,
He didn't die.
doesn't really have to do with Rabbi Shimon originally. It has to do with the story of Jewish survival. Because all the Torah Sheba'al Peh is Aliba de Rabbi Akiva. If Rabbi Akiva would have seen 24,000 students die, and on that day he would have said, I give up, he would have went with them. But if a guy at the age of 40 years old, that's why he had to come to Hashem back at the age of 40. Because a guy who could come back to Hashem at the age of 40 and say, I'm still going to learn Torah, that's a guy who could see 24,000 students die and say, I'm still going to teach. The chokhmah of a Rebbe is not to say, I have 100 people in my shir. The chokhmah of the Rebbe that says, I have 5 students left, and from those 5 students, the Torah will reach the whole world. And he took 5 students. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was one of them. Rabbi Balanes, Rabbi Yudah Bar Ilai, Rabbi Yosef ben Chalafta, Rabbi Elazar ben Shamoa. 5 students, 5 giants. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, on this day, today is not his yortzeit. Today is the day he finished the Idra Rabbah. All the Torah of the Ari Kadosh is just on that small portion of the Zohar called the Idra Rabbah.
So he finished publishing.
That was it today. Today was his Hilulah, Bei Hilullah Rabbah. Today Rabbi Shimon finished a portion of the Zohar that all the Aris work. You know how much we talk about in this shul? Ari Kadosh, Ari Kadosh, Ari Kadosh. All of it is just on what? One section of the whole Zohar called the Idra Rabbah. That was all today. The Mekubalim have a minhag to finish the whole Idra Rabbah tonight and the whole Idra Zuta in the morning, and then they ask for a wish. One wish. But they forget. We forget. If you look at the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was not an ordinary person in a way, you know, like Hillel Hazaken. You know Hillel Hazaken? He's in the middle of taking a shower, and he said, Mikan Hillel, Nasi of Klal Yisrael. He goes, puts on his robe. Who's there? Why do Chinese people have eye slash? How come black people have long legs? Sha'al Beni Sha'al. Nice. If it was Rabbi Shimon, She'la Sha'al Agada Beni. Good question. Rabbi Shimon was not. Rabbi Shimon was
very. If you did something
if
wrong,
he isn't wrong?
yeah.
Rabbi Shimon, what? You disrespected the Torah? Right away? Gal Shel Atzamot. The Gemara says a story in Masechet Erochin, if I'm not mistaken. One time, Gazru Umot Harishah, the Romans made a Gezerah on Klal Yisrael. No more Brit Milah, Shabbat, and Rosh Chodesh. They sent Rabbi Reuven HaItztrobeli. He took a razor, he shaved all his face off, made the skin fade. A real Roman. He went inside with a senator's robe undercover. And he said, why you wanna punish? If you have an enemy, you wanna make him strong or weak? Weak. So let him have a Brit Milah. You're cutting him at 8 days old. You wanna make them poor or rich? Poor. So make them keep Shabbat. That's the day of the business. You wanna make them have a lot of kids or less kids? Less. So make them keep Tarat HaMishpacha. Rosh Chodesh is based on Tarat HaMishpacha. You're right, they ripped up all the decrees. Then they found out undercover, it was a year that did all this. All back. They bring it all back. They said, who's gonna go now? Rabbi Shimon said, I'm gonna go. Rabbi Shimon said, I'm not gonna go alone. Talmid Chacham never travels alone. He always has to travel with someone. Why? The Satan is always looking to make him ba'ayot. They said, we're gonna send the son of Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Elazar.
He was scared. No, he said, I
was scared.
He said, I don't want to go with him.
I don't want to go. Why? This rabbi is
makpid.
makpid. If you do one wrong tuzah, right away, gal shel atzamot. Karet. Don't look at Rabbi Shimon like that. In Kabbalah, it's always like that. If you look at real mekubalim, very big kapdanim. Something doesn't go their way, lahalacha, ledavar. Right with the makpid on you. Rabbi Shalom Chaim Dorcha Kohen was also like that.
Who?
Rabbi Shalom Chaim Dorcha Kohen. Very big makpid. Yeah, that was. I'm not in that story.
Coming out of the cave.
They're very makpid.
Rabbi Shimon goes with the son of Rabbi Yosef, his best friend. They learn together. These are the 5 students of Rabbi Akiva. Halacha comes up. Rabbi Shimon doesn't know the halacha. He looks at the son of Rabbi Yosef. He knows the halacha. He's holding himself back from saying it. He says, say the halacha. Say. He says, I'm afraid of you. Promise me you're not going to punish me if I say in front of you the halacha. He said, I'm not going to punish you. He said the halacha. Rabbi Shimon said, right now you deserve death for saying the halacha in front of your Rebbe.
Why do you say it?
Because you live in a generation of love, of Woodstock. It wasn't like this back in the day. A Rebbe is a Rebbe.
He made him say it.
Yeah, he made him say it, but it was still. You said halacha in front of. By the way, Elia Cohen wanted to kill Shmuel Hanavi
Yes, true that.
because he said halacha to Shmuel Hanavi, shechita kshera bezav. To make the shechita and the azara when you bring a korban, even the Jew could make the shechita. The Kohen doesn't have to do the shechita. The shechita. Eli said to Shmuel, you said the right halacha. You're chayav mita now. Hamoreh halacha lifnei rabo chayav mita. Abraham.
Yeah, I'm listening. Sorry.
I don't understand.
But then he said to Hannah, "You're a kid. You don't have to understand." He said to his mom Hannah, "This kid is not gonna live."
Right.
She started to cry. She said, "Ala yeled hazeh itpalati." Eli said, "Don't worry. I'm gonna pray for you again. You're gonna have more kids." She said, "No. Ala yeled hazeh itpalati. I want this one." So he let him go. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was about to do the same thing, but he promised to the boy. He said, "I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna be makpid on you." Karochi, they go to Rome. They get off the docks. When they get off the docks, a Shindalet comes to greet them. Ben Tamalion, his name was.
No.
Ben Tamalion.
Yeah, before
That's a
that.
different story you're talking about. There was a Shindalet called Ben Tamalion. This Ben Tamalion comes towards Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon starts to cry. He said, Hagar Mitzrit. Hagar.
She saw the angel.
She saw angels. Who does Hashem send me to make a miracle by? A Shindalet, a demon.
Devil.
So Rabbi Shimon went with Ben Tamalion. He says, "No, what are you gonna do?" He says, "I'm gonna make myself into a neshama, like makes a person crazy. I'm gonna go into the emperor's daughter, make her mishuga. You're gonna come inside. You're gonna say Ben Tamalion say, Ben Tamalion say, Ben say. I'm gonna leave." V'chen haya,
So of course he came.
v'chen haya, and so it was. He goes inside. He says, Ben Tamalion say. The emperor says, "Go inside my vault. Pick one thing. I give you." He goes inside, he sees the decree, he rips it up. The decree is cancelled. Rabbi, the son of Rabbi Yosef, said, "I was over there. I saw over there the two pillars of the Beit HaMikdash, Yachin and Boaz, their names were. And I saw the tears coming down from them, and I saw the parochet between the Kodesh and Kodesh HaKodashim still with the blood of Titus." This is in the Gemara Masechet Erechim. Says the story over there. What do we see from the story of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? Now it's funny, I use a story from the Gemara to explain Rabbi Shimon, but not a story from the Zohar. And there's many stories in the Zohar. There's a scary story in the Zohar with Rabbi Abba. There's a story in the Zohar. We read this in the Chanukah and not Chanukah Tabayit, for the kid. Brit Yitzchak. We read the Zohar. And the Zohar said, I read it so many times, I already remember the Zohar.
Wow.
The Zohar says over there, when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's student Rabbi Abba went to Bavel, he found some secrets of the Torah over there. When he came back and said it to Rabbi Shimon, he said to Rabbi Shimon told him, "How do you know these secrets?" He said, "I learned it from my..." Because you were holding these secrets in for such a long time, you didn't tell me, you're chayav mita.
Yeah, but
To Rabbi Abba he said that. He says, because of that, you're chayav galut. You're chayav galut. And the Netiv Mitzvotecha, the Rabbi Mikomarna says, that was the Rabbi Abba who later on would be called Rav in the Gemara, that went down from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel and became the Rabbi of all the Amoraim of the Gemara. That's the same Rabbi Abba. So we see it in the what made Rabbi Shimon like this. At the same time, Rabbi Shimon would never call his students Talmidim. You know what he would all call them? Always?
Haverim.
Chaverim, my friends.
Chabadnikim.
Chaverim, my friends. What do we see here by Rabbi Shimon? There is a certain idea in the Torah of being a straight arrow. And Rabbi Shimon says in the Gemara Masechet Sukkah, I'm enough to be poter the whole world. Me and my son Rabbi Elazar, and if Yotam, the king of Israel, of the Jews, will be with us, we could be poter the world from when it was created till the end of the world. We could poter everyone. Kedai hu Rabbi Shimon lismoch alav b'shat adchak. And we know the power of the Zohar HaKadosh. question is, how come such a tragedy happened today? And the answer is, we don't know. That's the true answer. You don't know the Cheshbonot Shamayim. But we do see one thing. But when you're messing with the Kabbalah, you have to be very careful. It's not a party. That's what I learned. My personal lesson for me, not for anyone else here. For me is, when you're messing with the secrets of the Torah, think about it. They didn't go there last year. It was COVID. Everybody was so excited to go. I remember the story of Nadav and Avihu when I hear this. During the inauguration of the Mishkan, suddenly, boom, Hashem sends the fire, kills Nadav and Avihu. B'krova yekadesh, v'apnei kol ha'am ekabed v'yidom Aaron. We have to learn how to be like Aharon HaKohen, v'yidom Aaron. Shtika. We have to accept the Gezerah of Shamayim. We don't know what this is, but at the same time, I learned from this, for me, a big lesson. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's Hilula is not just about eating and drinking and having fun. It's about refining our character. It's about reconnecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's about the Limud Torah. And you know what? I was very happy that today the women came. I'm sorry that they left before I gave my shiur. I'm sorry that they left, but I'm happy that they came. We over here, we want to grow, and if we don't grow without the women, then we're never gonna grow.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Ah, the right woman to be
They
here.
sent the representative.
Yeah, representative.
The representative.
A representative.
House of Representatives. She's a senator, not the House of Representatives. Vice President.
Kamala Harris.
So, when a person, when we grow, we cannot grow ourselves. Half of the reason why we grow and we're stunted in our growth, that's why when I got the phone call and he said, let's bring the woman, did I hesitate? I didn't even hesitate. I said, yes, let's do it. Surprisingly, but I think it's time. The problem is space.
We'll make space. Hashem will make it.
With your prayers,
Representative have to be special.
with your prayers, I'm sure we're gonna get far. That's for sure.
Don't open the hole.
Don't open the hole. But we need to grow. We have the people have children over here.
That's the Jewish nature.
When the Jewish people get through a tragedy, and by the way, I want to read you a text message that I just got from the Hatzalah of Israel. Hatzalah of Israel. Terrible tragedy in Meron. Over 40 people die. Worst disaster Israel has ever seen in a domesticated area. In Israel itself, by the Israelis, it's the worst disaster ever. A year after COVID, in Lag BaOmer, in Hirulat Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. But this is not a reason to lose despair, because if we didn't, we wouldn't have Rabbi Akiva today. This is a reason to rebuild. This is a reason to grow greater. This is the reason to expand. Am I right or wrong? Gilgulim, shmilgulim. This is a reason. We have to make shiurim for women. You know, I teach in a yeshiva. This shul that I teach in, it's empty. The whole week it's empty. Maybe a shiur at night. If you look at the place, it's huge. It's huge. Shh, guys, without... The point is, Rabotai, we need to take our beracha and we need to expand that beracha. Why? Because we're expanding ourselves. And if we're expanding, then we need the place. If we have the place, not only you will succeed, your Shalom Bait will succeed, your children will succeed, your grandchildren will succeed, your future generations will succeed. And when you succeed, when you see your children succeed, that's your success. That's your success. When Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, I want to tell you a crazy story right now. 1 minute, and I'm done. That's it, because I said tikkun. I said I hold true to my time. When he was giving the Eid Rabba, which was today, you know what happened in the Eid Rabba? Rabbi Shimon. There were how many chavraya? 10 chavraya.
10.
With Rabbi Shimon, in the middle of he's giving over the sodot, 3 of them die. I was zoche, me and my father were there to daven by their kvarim in the place where he wrote the Idra Rabbah. Me and him, we were zoche to be over there. Makom Idra, the Ariya Kadosh writes, it was over there. We sat in the seat of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. I was zoche to be there. Hopefully very soon again.
Amen.
And In the middle, 3 passed away. You think Rabbi Shimon gave up hope? You don't even see him mentioning it. Rabbi Abba was sad. Rabbi Abba was sad. And Rabbi Shimon wanted to enlighten him up. And he started giving more Solat Torah. And Rabbi Abba called Rabbi Shimon Shabbat. He says, your new name is Shabbat. His student called him Shabbat. Why? There are 7 candles to the candelabra. Rabbi Shimon, you're the 7th candle. You're the candle that lights up all the candles. And later on, they found 3 more students to make it 10 sfirot. Jewish people don't despair from tragedy. We rebuild from tragedy. After the Holocaust, we got Eretz Yisrael. After the Spanish Inquisition, we had the Shulchan Aruch and the Ari Kadosh. After the Crusades, we had Rashi. After Mitzrayim, we had Moshe Rabbeinu. We never despair. We only grow stronger. So before you ask yourself a question, maybe it's a lesson to us to grow from this, to rebuild from this, to make more shiurim, to learn more Torah. Ki Adam le'amal yulad. I'll finish with the sentence with the rabbi's birthday parasha. Im bechukotai telechu. What does Rashi say? Amelim b'Torah. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia, amen.